Basketball's most talked about sophomore sensation since Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain is Oscar Robertson of the University of Cincinnati. There's the tap-off, and Robertson, number 12, brings the ball down court. Although outstanding as a scorer, he's a team player, too.
People ask me a lot of times, how was it to play with Oscar? And that's the question, but I just tell them he's the only one that has a statue over there.
I think he was more than a good player. I think he was a good captain and a good influence on other players on, look, if we're going to be great and we're going to be good, these are the things that we have to do.
In practice, I would catch myself watching him instead of doing what I'm supposed to. He was fascinating to watch.
I loved the guy. He was a superhuman being.
So, of course, he's an NBA champion with the Milwaukee Bucks, 12-time NBA All-Star, Rookie of the Year, and Most Valuable Player. If there was a three-point line during that time, he would average at least 45 points a game. But he was so much more, because if it were not for Oscar Robertson and the Oscar Robertson rule, these guys wouldn't make the money they make. Free agency would not be what it is, not just for pro basketball, but for sports in particular.
One of the all-time greats, there's no doubt about it.
My background started in Charlotte, Tennessee, on a little farm. You know, I was starting to play basketball. I had an older brother that was playing basketball, and my mother called me in the house and she said, I got something for you. She gave me a basketball. I just looked at her, I said, thank you, and I hugged her. I was so happy, it was unbelievable. You know, because nobody had a basketball around there.
I believe that basketball was spiritual, because it was a gift in the present during that time that she knew would make a better future, and she knew it was going to change the future when she gave him that ball.
I think his upbringing and his humble beginnings, I think those things helped shape everything he did. And I think that if you trust yourself and believe in yourself, even if you doubt yourself sometimes, but if you have that underlying faith in yourself, then I think you can persevere through anything.
I went to University of Cincinnati. I didn't know much about recruiting. There was nothing said to us at Crispus Attucks High School. I got some letters from Johnny Wooden in UCLA. Went to Cincinnati because I wanted to get a business degree. I had a few problems, of course, playing in those times.
Always a challenging time for him. We played down the Dixie Classic, and that was a terrible place to play at that time. I mean, they didn't like black people, and Oscar took a lot of abuse in that game.
I did get some threats over the telephone once in the high school before we played a certain game in the city tournament. I got threats when I was in college before I went down and played in North Carolina. I got letters about this, that they were going to shoot me and do all these things.
There was another time when we went to the University of Houston, and the team stayed at the Shamrock Hilton, actually, and they wouldn't let him stay there.
You just can't have that, you know. We're a team when everybody that's on this team is going to be treated the same way and dealt with the same way. And I think he was a big factor in the transition from what it was before. He was a leader in changing the attitudes towards a lot of people about, you know, hey, we're all in a great game of basketball together, and we're all one team. Let's do it together.
He and my dad are really good friends. My dad has a similar attitude about character, and, you know, they believe in doing the right thing, but they also believe in fighting for change, and that's what he represents. I felt like he inspired me to be a change agent as well.
There were many guys like me who went to schools, first black to play or did all, they caught hell too. But more than anything, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I got a good degree. I met my wife there, which was probably the best reason I went to Cincinnati, to be honest.
She played the role of my father's confidant throughout everything in his life. She has a calming spirit to everything. So when everyone else is, you know, super type A, she's the one who's the calm one who, you know, can speak to you quietly and you'll listen to her.
My dad told me some stories, and he said it was something different about him. As a leader, number one, but as someone that was inspirational, number two.
Well, I think he did by example more than anything else. You know, he wasn't that vocal.
You know, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one. You know, we don't talk about church a lot, but what we do talk about is relationship. And I know he has to have a strong relationship with Christ because it shows through his character. And he's always been a man of great character and faith.
I think when his children were going through certain things, you know, after it was all over, you know, he would say that, you know, he prayed for us. He doesn't say that he was going to, but he told us afterwards. Because, you know, he believed and he wanted a situation to turn out for the best for us, and all of us were, thank you, you know?
I think God is in charge of everything we do. And maybe he's got a plan for all this. I hope he does.
I felt the impact based upon what he's done on the culture of sports and basketball, but also for my people in particular.
He knew there was a big responsibility, and he just handled it like that's what he was supposed to do.
The ceremony on the Monument Circle when he was in high school, that was a tradition for people who won the state championship. So they had a celebration maybe 40 years later. He was more worried about whether everyone else was included from his team than him. He cares about other people tremendously, and I think that showed when he played on the court, as well as how he lived his life and how he treated his friends.
We were playing a game. I was running down the floor, made a fast break, and Oscar had scored. And he comes over and shakes hands with me, and I don't know why he's shaking hands. Find out that was his 2,500 score point that year, or something like that, maybe 3,000. I don't know. He was saying thank you for making the pass, yeah, setting him up. Always a gentleman, always was thankful for things that were there, and everything he did, he handled with dignity.
If you have that type of belief system in you, it doesn't matter who you meet or where you go, because you'll always know that you'll end up doing the right thing for yourself and for others. And I think that's something that he's held with him for his entire life and still acts like that.
The Player of the Century award was very important. And even though Michael Jordan was in that era, you know, they named Oscar Player of the Century. Jerry West was very good friends with Oscar. So they asked him, hey, what's it like being the logo and being the greatest basketball player? And he said, you need to ask Oscar Robertson. He's the greatest. So that should tell you when other players say that you're great.
He's one of a kind, though. Once in a lifetime, you have a player like that, and we were fortunate enough to have him.
And if he cares about you, he's going to care about you through everything. It doesn't matter what you do, that he's going to care about you and try to help you, regardless of your situation.
But you need some angels around you sometimes. Some people who are involved in a situation say, hey, by the way, can I help you? If you got something that you want to do, try it. Do as much as you can to try to get that accomplished. And I would say never give up.